What is going on, everybody? We are back. My name is Nick Valley.
My name is Jonah Dockenai.
And
we're
this is
Rev Rock Revolution!
And this is Nell, or Nellagy. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
What's going on? I was just telling him right before we came on that he's the first guest that one of us doesn't know. Jonah has actually never met Nell before, and I haven't seen you since
so
like
good to
September.
meet
How you been,
Nick
man?
has told me a lot about you.
Yeah. Hopefully all great things. Maybe a couple mischievous things. Who knows?
What's going on, man?
But yeah, likewise, like I said, it's good to meet you too, Jonah. But Nick, I've been good. I've been trying to keep my head down and kind of, plotting and I guess strategizing how I want to do things. As you know, I'm also an artist, also I guess you would know me as a singer, but I classify myself as a rapper or somewhere between the two.
Yeah.
So I just kind of been, I spent at least the latter half of last year just trying to kind of formulate what I wanted to do. Had a little bit of a personal hiccup top of this year, but but we're back at it. I've been heavily trying to spam my socials with content and just connect with people. So yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Yeah, no, man, I get it. And like, I think a big lesson from, and we're going to talk about how we met, obviously, but I think a big lesson is no matter what genre you're in or what world you're in, like, we're all going through the same grind, as artists. And it's all life and, being a creative. But I'm glad to hear that. And I know what you're saying, because you're a really good singer. You actually a really cool rap. You are somewhere in between. It's hard to like classify, but I think it's what makes you like interesting. And I love, I like, me, like I typically don't even listen to but I love your kind of music. So I'm excited to introduce our world and our audience to you. That being said, if you want a little talk, this is a good opening, about yourself as an artist, how you got into music, I guess growing up, just give us your whole life story, just a biography. Right?
Yeah, the whole spiel.
Yeah. So I have an interesting story. Got it. I guess I have a bit of an interesting story because most people that do music, they're super passionate about what they do, and they're just kind of like, yeah, I've been doing this since I was like 3, and I always loved it. And since I was about probably like 6 or 7 years old, I could not stand the music business at all. My parents actually ran the indie label in 2004 till 2008. And it was their own label. They had, their own staff and things like that, artists that they were able to put on to large festivals and things like that. And it ended up derailing. But the whole time I'm like a 7-year-old, hey, I just want to play with dad. When are y'all done? So fast forward to about high school, people were just messing around at lunch, playing with just drumming and doing things on the table. And people decide they want to start freestyling or singing or whatever like that. And after a while, I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. My dad still had all the equipment because he was a producer, a songwriter. He plays 3 different instruments. He's a musician through and through. So he's got all kinds of equipment and stuff like that in the house. So I start playing around with his guitar. I start playing around with the piano in the house. And eventually I made it into his studio and started playing around with some of the software he has in there. Started making some beats. Later on, I started putting lyrics to those beats, just kind of seeing what I could do. And the more I kind of got into it, the more he was kind of like, okay, let me see if I can help him. And I think it was I was 17, I think, at high school, and my school just decided randomly they want to do a talent show. So I was like, all right, yeah, I know. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to do a talent show. I was so nervous because I was a super introvert. I didn't really like talking in front of people. And I actually signed myself up, and they said all right, cool, write down what your talent is. I wrote down rapping, but I forgot there's 2 P's in that. So I wrote down raping as my talent.
Oh no!
And, I don't think anyone would have classified that as a talent. That's terrible.
Yeah, I was just so nervous and thrown off. Whatever. So when I showed up for my audition, they were not sure exactly what I was gonna do. I think if I showed up with a woman with me, it would have been weird. Or even a dude.
I That would have been so bad.
Oh
man.
God.
But yeah, it ended up going over great. I ended up being one of the finalists for the talent show. I didn't win, but that's to me that was all the validation that I needed.
But listen, like you either have your shining moment, or it could have been like the moment that like completely like derailed your entire life. But that would just
Canceled
Listen,
grammar man.
Yeah, like to be honest with you, it was no, but really. But like it was a surreal moment for me. Like I truly love performing. With that one performance, I got like an entire auditorium of 300 people singing a song they'd never heard prior to that moment.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
it was such a I don't know, it was just an amazing moment. So since then it kind of got me hooked, and from there, I started writing more. At that point, I was really just a rapper. There was no melody, no singing or anything in what I did. Probably around like 2019, when I like really started to sing. Like there were some songs that had like a little bit of melody, but like nothing crazy. And then like in 2019, I started writing songs like the one that you heard me performing a lot.
Girl from Philly, are you feeling me?
Yeah. The Girl from Philly it's actually an old song for me. Like I wrote
Really?
that song in like 2020. I released it in 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I that's from there is when I started to
Fucking love that song.
Hey, we were looking for something catchy and it worked. So
dude, it's like that one is a certified. I don't care how far it's gonna be one of those things. It's like if that song's not a hit, I don't believe the music industry. Like it's so freaking hooky,
there's
man.
A lot of people that have believed in that song. I've decided to move forward from that. I got another song called "Well One" out right now that we're really pushing. But no
doubt.
Yeah, it's always been a great song in my head, though. The Girl from Philly one. Yeah,
no. I mean, you have tons of great songs. I just, I got to hear it over and over again in the capacity that we've met each other in. So it's just like emblazoned in my brain. Fortunately for me. But I see, this is the thing I love, is I try not to like, I don't know. It's like bringing you on the show. I didn't even know any of the things like about you or about your story or the parents owning a label. What's interesting is we all, and this is a common theme I think with a lot of artists though, we all came from we all have musical parents. Both my parents were, my dad played bass and sang and my mom sang, and Jonah, your dad obviously plays bass in his band.
Yeah, both my parents
Oh, really?
are super musical, and dad's in the band.
Oh, that's fire.
Yep.
I've always wanted to do something like that. My dad's his big thing is he plays drums. That's his bread and butter.
Nice.
I've always wanted to do a live set and have my dad on stage with me. That's always been
it's going
to happen.
Oh,
but
definitely do
I
that.
haven't had the opportunity.
Dude, that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun playing music with a parent or a sibling or a family member. I think there's just something. Actually, his whole band. I love that I'm introducing you guys on camera. This is brilliant, Jonah. But I'll just talk about you. No, his whole band it's him. His little brother plays drums and his father plays bass. They're a family band and they play metal.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's hardcore Partridge Family right there.
So it's the whole band.
Brilliant. But I think it is a super cool thing, and you've done it, and I'm with you now. This is something I want to do too, is play live. My dad playing bass and your dad. That's pretty cool. I think a lot of people, it's a special thing. Not everybody can say that. But so I guess from there you just kept developing and writing and recording, and I guess you learned production and stuff. I mean, if you want to elaborate on that.
For sure. Yeah. So I completely glossed over that. Yeah, I used to do production actually pretty heavily because I was my own first producer. Beats are expensive, so I was like, let me try to do it myself. And even now, my dad has done a lot of production for me. Even Girl from Philly, he actually produced that record.
Nice.
As well as the song that I'm pushing now. My dad was the guy who's behind the music on all of that. I wrote the songs, but he's, as far as I'm concerned, just as big as a contributor. But for myself, I still try to dabble in production. I still make some of my own beats. I got another friend of mine who's an amazing producer as well, that he's also an amazing singer, but he also produces for me from time to time. But I just like the art and the craft of kind of like putting something together that it's like before the words, before the lyrics, before the music at all, or before the lyrics at all, you already kind of feel what's coming from that song.
Mm.
So when it comes to production, it's always going to be something that kind of steals my heart, something that I love because it's like with that you can really speak to kind of like what I was saying before. You can really speak to people without even speaking to people. You know, I love
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Definitely. No, yeah,
It's
that makes
so
total sense.
important in
That's pretty
music
cool.
nowadays.
Like, true.
Yeah.
Like, I could say for me, and I think Jonas the same for you, but like for production, it was like, I think everybody's background is interesting too. Like how people come up influences their thought process and creative process. And like for me, like I came up with, I sang and did all that kind of stuff first, and then I wrote, and then the producing came like afterward. It was like a means to put everything together. And I think that was a similar thing for you, Jonah, right? Because you, again, I mean, like, you correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, no, that was pretty much the same for me because I knew how to write songs, I knew how to play my instrument, but then it was like when it came to I want to release these songs, I had to learn production. I mean, I messed around a little bit in Reason, just to like track. My guitar teacher showed a little bit of that, but then I was like, I want to get these to the same level as like my hero is Metallica, Van Halen. We've talked about that before, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah, exactly. So, but for you, like, you came up now, like, I think around that, and like, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Yeah.
it almost like it's like a reverse, and I think that influences how we separately think about creative processes, and it's just a cool thing. It definitely is.
Yeah.
And that insight actually makes more sense about. It's interesting as you tell me your life story. Like pieces of puzzles are coming together for me, which is interesting. It's actually a really cool thing. Yeah, no. So in that, I guess that kind of leads. Is there like anything else in between you think is pertinent before us? Like,
Yeah, sure.
and that was your whole life before you met me, and then you met me, and your whole life was amazing.
Yeah, so it's interesting because you know, I don't sit back and think about, I guess, the journey that's gotten me to where I'm at here. So as like we're going through this, like more and more is just kind of flooding my brain because I even think about the fact that like there's two artists actually that were on my parents' label that I'm still in contact with from time to time. One of them literally lives around the corner from me, and he's been a huge mentor. Well, he used to go by International I as an artist, but we just call him Doc. And with Doc, it's amazing to be around him sometimes because he's got such a business mind to him while also being an artist himself. So it's like it's good to be around him and kind of, in essence, absorb kind of that. Because as an artist, we're basically, you know, independent entrepreneurs at this point. So it's great to have that business sense that comes from him being able to absorb that and be able to kind of pick his brain about that kind of thing. You know, and with him being so close by, and I mean, honestly, I can call him whenever, but with him actually being around, it was nice to kind of go ahead and stop by and talk to him about things like that. And then I can't, because I'm talking a lot about my dad, because my dad's the actual musician, but I will
Yeah.
never discredit what my mother has done to shape me as an artist, because I told y'all I love to perform.
Yeah.
And that is because of my mother.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
mom's not an actual musician herself. She doesn't sing. She doesn't play any instruments. But what she can do is command an audience. My mom is a super extrovert, the complete opposite of what I was. And in some ways, she's allowed that characteristic to kind of come down into what I do as an artist. And every time I touch a stage, anytime that I'm trying to really convey my art, my music, and what I do in a performative way, it's got to go through my mom, and she's always been kind of a great person to kind of show me how to navigate the stage and really, I guess,
Yeah.
get people's attention in essence.
Yeah. No, that that makes total sense. Like, yeah, no, I'm totally with you too, because I think it's always important to just things you get from both parents, and then you kind of become your own person. You know, that's just how life works. Welcome back, Jonah, to the recording. Wi-Fi, gotta love it. Remote. This is a first of many. This is the first time Jonah's ever done a remote. By the way, I just want to say real quick, Jonah, you're calling in from, you said Fresno?
Yeah, calling in from Fresno. I've been all over the place this week, but I couldn't miss a podcast.
Yep. Which is pretty funny because you can't miss the podcast. The cast is important, man. It's important. It's vital. Yeah, no, we were just saying, like, and I think you agree with this too. You get things from different parents, and then they kind of distill down into one person, and it's just interesting seeing how that works. Now, for me, I never asked you because I know you have, obviously, Jonah, your brother. I don't have any siblings, so it's just like, okay, this is 1 and 1 makes 2. But, like, do you have any siblings? As I was going to ask, and have you seen your different siblings get different or not? I mean,
yeah, I do have. I have one brother.
Okay.
And my brother is also really creative. He's also like very kind of reserved to himself. He has dabbled in production, and that's still where he lies when it comes to the music. But he's also very creative when it comes to, this is something else I think he got from my dad because I'm not good at it. He's still very imaginative, and he's very good at creating stories. He writes in a lot of different ways. He doesn't write songs, but he does write more so like short stories and things like that.
Cool.
And I think that's something that he's looking to pursue, like,
That's
long
cool.
term.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I do see the same creativity that kind of flows through my brother as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's always like, was it genetic? Was it the way I was raised? It's probably both. To me, it's probably both.
I think so. I think it does have a little bit to do with genetics, but also the environment that you're in. I think seeing my parents kind of go through that, I guess that grind as business owners, but running specifically a creative business, I think that did kind of, in essence, I think I flipped back to that. Even though I wasn't really paying attention, I was paying attention. So some of that I think does still come back to us as we get older, if we do decide to pursue things like that.
Yeah. Oh, man, 110%. I mean, you can confirm for me because you've actually seen like the side by side before, like me and my mom. By the way, Jonah doesn't know this, but the event that I did, my mom was there with me, doing the event with me, and was like, you hung out with both of us that whole weekend.
I had no idea that she sang though. The entire time, she never mentioned that. I was like, wow. So for you to say that now, I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I never mentioned it. Yeah, exactly. You know what it is? I think now she definitely has transitioned into that more. And she's always been like this, I think, her whole life too. Very business oriented, very task oriented. And obviously you can tell that when we got all the shit we got done that weekend because of, we have so many stories, Jonah, that you would just laugh your ass off at. But yeah, no, that's interesting coming into it. And that kind of leads us, I guess, into a good transition into where our paths kind of crossed. So I guess my question is, we can kind of explain how we met, what we were doing, and I would love to know how you got into that world, and I can.
Yeah. So for me, I know that was the Contrabrand camp, basically. How did I? I've been following Contrabrand's content for probably about a year or two now.
Okay.
And it was, honestly, for me, I was on the mailing list. They said, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, that sounds cool. So I hopped in and I really, because I really appreciate the kind of information and content that they bring on YouTube. So on the mailing list, obviously they dive even more into that. So it was my first, I guess, opportunity to really get, I guess, more ingratiated into Corey and oh my gosh, I'm losing his name right now. Sean, thank you. It's funny because he's the one that I see more often. But anyway, to get more into like their world and to get a chance to really pick their brain. So when I saw the opportunity to like kind of join that kind of like boot camp, I saw it as a great opportunity, and then I wasn't going to pass up the opportunity to like kind of be there live and in person. So when they said that there was an opportunity to come meet everybody in Atlanta, I jumped on it. So that's how I ended up there.
Okay. Yeah, no, for me, it was I did a program with them. Long story short, I did a program with them. I got some stuff, and then as they built momentum, I started working with them, and then they were doing the event, and then I came in.
Oh, okay. Solid.
But yeah, no. And again, like, like my mom was there, obviously. Well, I mean, for obvious reasons too, like,
Yeah.
but for not just that, just because this is a side-by-side thing. This is like anybody that knows me and is in my world and is like deep enough knows that like this is like a co-partnership, and you obviously saw that and everything that we did. But yeah, so then when we went to the event, we had like one day where it was just like seminar kind of based. We were all in a house. We pulled up, and I thought it was going to be some kind of murder mystery situation. And then it wasn't, thankfully, because, it was an interesting, just one random, really new, nice house in the middle of nowhere.
It was, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't know where I was going. And I actually went to the wrong house at first.
Really?
And I'm so glad that nobody came to the door. Because I'm not from that area, clearly, and I was by myself. So I'm like, this looks right, but I guess I didn't double check the address or something like that. So point is, nobody was home, and I went next door because I saw other people going there. So I'm like, oh, that cool, next door.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So yeah, that first day, like, I feel like we all like saw each other, but there wasn't whole lot of. It was just a lot of, okay, here's a ton of information. We're just gonna throw shit at you. And then we got randomly paired that day. It was me, you, and then another person who was in our group, Vicky. Shout out. What's going on, Vicky?
Squad.
Squad goals. So we got paired up. And then, that was a pretty interesting thing. I remember that first day we were sitting in like the hallway area, and we had Ja'Cory watch all of our content. And we were like, and he thought I said who's the best at making content. And meanwhile, I was trying to ask him what he thought our strong suits were, but he thought I just was trying to ask him who was the best at making content.
Immediately trying to make competition amongst the team, breaking us up. No, but that first day was it was interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of information, like you said, Nick. It was just, it was, honestly, although I'm better at being a little bit more social and extroverted, at my core, I'm still an introvert, and I don't like talking to people. So
sure, it was a nice warm up.
It was. So, and then obviously there was one person in the room that I was vaguely familiar with. That was Simone.
Okay.
Only because I'm familiar with her music. So I kind of, at first, I clung to her because we started talking. We was cool. And then we broke them into the groups. In my mind, I'm like, okay, put me with somebody I've been talking to in the room. Nobody that I was in a group with somebody that I had already been talking to.
That was me too. We're referring to, by the way, Simone Talise.
Yes.
Very talented.
Yeah, sorry, I always forget to say her last name, or her full name, I should say.
Yes.
But yeah, no. So when I'm in the group with yourself and with Vicky, I don't know what I'm going for, because I did have to talk to Vicky prior to getting together. So
I was just that asshole.
You was just that asshole. Yeah. Now that I think about it, I was somewhat familiar with Vicky, but not yourself or your mother. So it was interesting at first.
True.
To kind of feel you both out and see, hey, how do you guys operate and things like that. Obviously with Vicky and I, we were not familiar even with, well, we were somewhat familiar, but not fully familiar even with the genre of music that you make. So it was interesting to kind of even see your content and kind of get into that. It was just a complete feeling out phase because I hadn't had a chance to talk with you. But
well, it was the same thing back, Yeah, no, it was cool. It was like definitely a blending of, and the whole, like, everybody was so different there. It was like, it was a blending of like so many different cultures and like pockets of, artistic. It was just very interesting.
From people's personas to their actual music. Yeah, it was a really kind of like a melting pot of personalities. It was cool. It was a cool, like, what was it? How long were we there? Like a week, 4 days, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
It felt like it went by really quickly, but at the same time, we got to learn a lot about each other. And then these kind of like content, like challenges, like. And,
we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Second day was Was that the one where we had to go to? We went to that place, right? Like early in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. So the first day, obviously, we were at the house. The second day, we had to meet up to do kind of like like, in essence, like a challenge where we had to just create a piece of content. We were allowed to bring in kind of props, but it's like we had this finite space. We had to
On a
figure out
stage,
how,
yeah.
yeah, on a stage. We had to figure out how to utilize the lighting that was there.
They were
props that
filming
we
with like a
brought.
pro camera, which was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Nah, they had it. Shout out to the photographers there, the videographers, like, 'cause they did a great job.
They were great.
I'm
EJ and
sitting
Sharante and
yeah,
love that
yeah.
crew.
No, but I honestly was not sure for the longest time what I was gonna actually do, and
Wale.
thinking,
I didn't want to
yeah,
forget.
shout out to Wale. He's actually dropping music now too. Now, and
I know. I saw.
yeah, it's really good. I
know.
actually enjoy his stuff. But
Such a cool guy.
yeah, but no, it was a really cool experience to try to do that. I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. Looking back,
too.
I could have done something a lot better. I liked what you put together. I don't.
What,
care
the chair
you-
thing?
Yes, it
That was
worked
so
out
random
really
and
well.
last minute.
And that's why it worked out really well.
Chair?
No, I love the thing
What?
Ficky did with the bottles and the.
No, yes. So
I'll send it to you, Jonah.
yeah, but I think it worked out really well as a cool piece of content. Personally, I did all headshots in mine, and
But Ficky came in with all the ideas, though. Like,
Yeah,
he
did.
knew what he was doing before we shot
I mean,
anything.
Shout out to 50. And looking more at his page, like during that time that we were all together, I understood why he was like good at coming up with concepts kind of quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's used to doing like skit based content, and
True.
and it seemed like at least even before then he was doing it like often.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't want to say no, I was new to it. So So yeah, so like when I'm not really comparing everyone. I'm more so just comparing yesterday to today when it comes to myself, you know. And I still do the same thing as an artist now. I'm never while specifically in rap, it's always like quote unquote a competition. I never like look at someone else and say I'm like trying to more or less outdo them. I'm trying to outdo me from yesterday or last month or last year.
Exactly.
You know,
That's such a great
So-
mindset to have. A lot of people don't, and that's a detriment, I think.
I agree. In some ways the competition can be healthy and can be good. Like I even do it amongst my friends. Like sometimes like, oh yeah, we actually did do that one time. One guy, he made a beat and he was like, yeah, let's all do it and let's see who has the best version.
That's fun though. That's different than like,
That's more like
oh my
casual
god, I'm staring at this guy on
competition.
social media and he's doing so much better than me. Why can't I get this good? Yeah. What were we saying? Jonah?
I think Jonah was
Oh me? Oh yeah, I was saying, Harry, can you guys hear me? Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I was like that. I feel like that casual competition is very important compared to like the competition that like Nick's talking about, where it's like I have to be better than them, or like I know like definitely like in Nick and I's genre, it's like see that some people see that like certain guitars, and then they're like, I just want to quit the instrument because they're so much better. But that casual competition, it helps push each other. Like I feel like I with Nick's songs and like Nick writes amazing songs and like that pushes me to be a better songwriter. And I'm hoping that it's the same the other way around.
Yeah.
But yeah, that casual competition is very important. And
Jonah's
rising.
by the way, now I don't know how familiar you are with Jonah, but like Jonah's a shred god. Like every time I hear his guitar playing, I'm just like, I need to go fucking practice. Which I think is a good competition to have.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yes.
Amongst people that you know, like there's no harm with. I definitely think it's good competition. I think it's important and it keeps us to kind of keep pushing forward and keep growing and improving as artists. You know, I feel like if you're always around people that either are not better than you or at least on the same level as you, then sometimes it can stagnate your own growth. You know.
True.
So,
Definitely. No.
So,
you have to have a mixed bag, I think, because you also want to have people that are, inspired by you, and then there's people that inspire you, other people above you, and I think it's just nice to have a big collective.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that makes total sense. So yeah, we were in that place and we were kind of just watching each other film, which was interesting. And then they set us off and they let the horses run free.
Yeah.
And we went to, do you remember? We went to the park.
Yeah.
This was the best. This was the best day, hands down, in my opinion. They're just like, oh yeah, go film in the park.
Yeah.
Like it's this small little, like, it's as big as Central Park. It's like...
I mean, honestly, we could pick whatever locations, but I think what happened is we were running out of time based on, the first challenge. So we just were like, okay, we have to meet in the park, so let's just shoot in the park. And when we were, the locations that we picked, first off, I think we did a great job. Like
we did.
With what the time we had, the resources that we had, and the location that we had, I think we did a great job. Yes. Even with like the reaction ones where we were like, so we had, because Jonah, I know you weren't there, but we had some videos where we would have like two of us, because there's three of us. We had two of us like kind of walking, talking as if we're just in the park. And then, it was the one we had with you, Nick, where we would pass by you and be like, oh great, that's Nick. Yeah.
We did that with all of us, I think.
Did we? I couldn't remember. But I just remember that one in particular because of the fact that it was like we were playing on the fact that you don't expect necessarily like two black guys to just be like to know someone of your genre. So
yeah,
for me that one was actually kind of fun.
That one was cool. Yeah. I like that one. I like the one with the ducks.
I need to see
started.
These videos.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah, because we had this. So we had the one shoot where we were utilizing the swing, and then we just randomly happened to see this duck like bobbing its head to the music, and it was just hilarious.
It was the greatest thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I forgot about that too until you mentioned it. I remember the one where he lied against the lake. Vicky lied against the lake with the bottle, and it fell over on accident.
Yeah.
And we had some magic that day.
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on. The filming was great. It was the post film where we were all supposed to get together. And we all met at the popsicle stand.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Can't let Corey live it down.
No, you have to tell this story, Jonah. This is one of my favorite stories of all time.
So we're all done. We're told to meet up at next to this popsicle stand inside the park where we were filming at. That's why the whole reason why we went to the park. So meanwhile, we're like, okay, cool. Let's go find the popsicle stand. We're told it's on, I'm just going to say on the west end. So we go on the west end looking for the popsicle stand. And we see a park. We see some random hot dog stand or whatever it was. We see the bathrooms. We start asking.
Oh, God, the bathroom.
Side story about the bathroom. Don't go in the bathroom.
Don't go in the men's bathroom.
Okay. I don't know what's in there because I didn't go in there. But we were told don't go in there. It did not look good in there.
Oh, my God.
So at this point, because we've been walking around for like 15, 20 minutes, we found other people that are also looking for this popsicle stand that are from our group.
No, it was funny. We were walking around, and then as we would go different, we would just run into another group. Yeah. And then we'd just run into another group as we were going, and everybody was looking for this popsicle stand.
Yeah.
No, eventually got to the point where we were all, besides the staff, everyone in the ended up in the same spot.
Yep.
In a circle waiting for everyone to arrive.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh no, never mind. Just go meet up at whatever it was, like this like circular area. It was like this, you remember what I'm talking about? It was like above the hill. Yep. And we went on, and the funniest part was where they told us to meet up was right where we were shooting. And we walked to the other side of the park where we thought the popsicle stand was. And we had to walk all the way back to meet everybody.
Right back. Oh no.
Yep.
So we ended up. Yeah.
Turns out the popsicle stand's only there on certain days, and we weren't there. It wasn't that day.
It was not that day. I remember when the guy who told us to meet there, Ja'Cory, he walked through, and we would all started slow clapping as he walked towards us. Oh my God. That was perfect. And then there were some comments made by the way, I just want to say, we had a great group. We had an instant rapport. We got along very instantly, and there were certain individuals certain individual I'm very glad we were not paired with.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
I was gonna say I don't know how deep we want to go into that.
We're not getting into that. All we're gonna say is there was a very interesting personality there.
Yeah.
It's like if we were on a reality show, it'd be the person that you would boot off the first week. And I remember after we had the meeting in the circle that you drove us back to our car because we parked on all the way on the other side, and we had a conversation about it in the car that day. That was hilarious. And that rented car, the car you rented.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna drive to Atlanta. I'm glad
I did.
I give it up to y'all because I know you and your mom drove to Atlanta from farther away than I come from. I'm in Delaware.
Yes.
So I'm 2 hours ahead of you already when it comes to driving to Atlanta, and I still took a plane. I stayed with a friend because I have a friend that stays down there. So it was actually great to see him because I got a chance to because I had never seen his place, so got the chance to see his place, meet some of his friends down that way. But I give it up to y'all for driving.
Yeah.
But I've drove to Atlanta once. It was like a 10-hour drive or something like that.
Yep.
Not saying I wouldn't, because I drove from here down to Miami before. That's like roughly like what? It's
Definitely
like
more than that.
It's like 15, 16, something like that. It might have been 18 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, we would not have stopped. I don't mind driving, but I want to get to where I'm trying to get to. I don't like having to stop. So
you mean besides gas and stuff?
But yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you guys stop when you came down from Long Island?
No, we did a straight shot, I believe.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it.
Yeah, we did. What's funny is I'm gonna have to tell that story, and I didn't even tell Nell yet. But I think our next guest is or a couple of Vicky's gonna be on the show at some point within the next couple of weeks. So I'm gonna have to tell that story.
Okay,
I'm gonna save it. It'll be like a part 2. I'll leave our audience on a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it was an interesting thing that we ended up driving, and we did more driving, and then we drove all the way back up. That was a crazy journey, which you'll stay tuned for. But yeah, no, that was day 2.
Yeah.
And then day 3, they sent us out to any location, and we met up at, it wasn't a mall.
Yeah, it kind of was. Kind of like a little mall or something like that.
Kind of. And what was the first thing we saw when we walked into the mall?
The popsicle stand, yeah. Yeah, the very one we were searching for like hours.
Yeah, so we found the popsicle stand, and we sent him a picture. It was hilarious. Anyways, they did not have the flavor, though, that he said for us to try.
No. At that point, I was over the popsicle stand. I didn't want it no more.
So that was a fun day. I remember we were going all around. We tried to get strangers to be in our videos, and nobody would do it.
We sat there. I don't even know how long, but we tried for a good at least half hour to see if we could find somebody to get into a video with us, and they were not. They weren't with it. But
no,
it was a good attempt. We were trying to do something outside of our comfort zone, and that was for sure outside of mine. Nick,
Me too.
I'm assuming it was for you too.
Yes. We were all like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but fuck it. But we ended up making great content after that. We went up to the roof.
Yeah. I got to be a cameraman that ran. It was great. I was like,
I still have that footage.
Yeah, I still have it. I remember I had you send it to me. I looked so stupid, but that's the fun part. I don't know. I'm a goofball. I like doing that kind of stuff.
You mean when you took a screenshot of me with my heels clicking together? That they're magically delicious?
Look, between the roof and the clock, we had some.
Oh God, the clock!
Content.
Not the clock content. Your clock video was the greatest thing, by the way. I just want to say that.
When we fixed it up, yes, and didn't make it seem like
Oh, the first time! Oh my God, I forgot it. You have to tell the first draft story of this.
So it came out great because we basically had me set up kind of like all 3 of us set up in front of this clock, kind of like me singing and having background singers. But the first time I didn't really think it all the way through, and there was like a dance move that we were gonna do. It was kind of like a belly dancer type of dance move, right? So the guys agreed to it. That's all. I'm gonna start with that. The guys agreed to it. I showed the motion. They were like, "Oh yeah, let's give it a try." So we gave it a try.
I'm not doing it now.
Man, we looked back at that footage.
Show the podcast, Nick.
Not doing it. Not doing it.
I'm not
If this video gets 10,000 likes.
What? That's a
Listen,
callback.
This video gets 10,000 likes. I'll come back on and do it live. I don't care.
Oh yeah. You guys
Oh
heard
my
him.
God.
But it was kind of a belly dancer move. When we looked back, it was like, I don't think that's the image we're going for.
It looked like a I'm trying to find a way of saying this while being respectful.
Very much a Magic Mike moment. Let's put it that way.
That's a way of saying it. I was gonna say it probably looks like a Lil Nas X video.
That's another way of saying it.
That's what I'm gonna say. But so we were like, this is not what we're trying to display. But the second take was pretty good, I have to say. And we did a lot of that. Like we would just go to the same place and we'd all get content out of it, and we got good content out of that too. Like the couple the pieces that I got to post were like they did like pretty well. Like I was glad. Like I was upset
The better part of
that we didn't win.
I was gonna say, the big prize would have been nice, especially since I know we did put it. But at the same time, I think who was it? Was it Day? Was it Supreme Day? I think that got the top prize. But either way, I was hoping for Yuna because that one piece of content where she utilized her interesting personality group number.
that special group number.
Yeah.
I was so glad she did that. I was like, I feel like she did that on purpose just to like.
We will never know, but all I know is it was a very interesting. It was a very.
That was a
piece of
great.
content.
That was better than a great. That was one of the greatest piece of content I've ever seen in my entire life. I have to send that to you, Jonah.
Yeah, and just kind of to describe it a little bit for you, Jonah. Like it was a great flip because he's a much older dude.
Oh, why are you giving him away?
I don't care. I gotta give a picture for everybody. All right.
But okay, I hope he doesn't watch this.
all I'm saying is it was you wouldn't have expected him to I guess be interested in the kind of music that she had. And the
space pop, as she put it.
Yeah, it was she has great music, by the way. I still listen to Yuna's music.
I still do too.
I love her.
She's great.
All I know is all I'm getting at is it was a great flip on the personalities and just the overall aesthetic. Because you wouldn't expect someone that looks like him to be involved in a video like that, and it was a great piece of content, and I really enjoyed it, and I really thought that it was going to take top spot. So I was kind of surprised when it didn't. But it was a great at least for a group piece of content, especially when they didn't know each other. I think it was great.
Oh my God, it was
it was a genius idea in my opinion.
That was interesting that day when we all, and then they had us meet at another park after we filmed all that content, and they gave away prizes in another circle.
Really? I didn't show up to that part. I had left after the first. Oh, I see I do remember what you're saying now. I remember.
Oh yeah, we went to that other park. We like walked down. You know.
Yeah.
I left. We had dinner after that.
We did have dinner. My bad, Nick. No, but you're right. We did. I was thinking the same day. That was a different or the last day or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do remember that when they kind of unveiled everyone's content on the stage and things like that, and I was cringy to watch sometimes, but because like I said, looking back, I could have done a lot better than that, but maybe that's because of what I know now and the skills that I learned or sharpened while we were there have definitely like bore fruit now. So I'm like looking at some of the things that I do now when it comes to content, I think back to that and I'm like, kind of cringy. But we all got to
start somewhere and learn, right?
Of course. But it was cool seeing, what everybody put together. Using, like I said, a real finite space was a space none of us had been to, and some of us had props, some of us didn't. But either way, like we all came out with something that was really cool. And I
wait a second, I forgot about the building they made us go to at the beginning of the third day. Remember that fog machine that I had in your face?
Oh yeah, because that's, in my opinion, that's where Ficky got really interesting with the content. I won't say more on that, but I think he made some really cool pieces utilizing that.
The couch
space.
Thing was great.
Yeah, but I do remember that fog machine was playing with my life because sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
It came out
But,
great though. The smoke, the camera going in with the smoke, and then
yeah, that's still one of my favorite pieces of content.
chef's kiss, man.
And still up on my page.
Yeah.
But yeah, you shout out to y'all because you guys were the ones that helped me get that fog machine going because there's no way I would have been able to shoot that and also press the button and angle it the way that I
That
needed
place
it.
was so strange, by the way. I just want to say there was like a room with, like where I shot. There was a room with like a classroom, and there was like just like a bright lights, and then just like a room with like fog and like ethereal, and then there was like a fancy like British living room, and like, well, I just want to say Atlanta's interesting in general. Like I remember when we went, and before we went to that event, Sean and Jacory would always preach, you need to have interesting places, interesting locations in your content. And I'm like, I live in New York. Everything's just like skyscrapers. And like, I went to Atlanta and I was like, well, yeah, no wonder. Like, every place here is like strange. It is.
Or it's interesting. Listen, where I'm from, there's not a lot of, I guess, backdrops like that either. But sometimes you have to get a little creative or find things.
No, yeah.
Even with like, sometimes with my apartment, sometimes with some of the parks. Actually, there's a park not too far from me here. There's nothing really fancy about it. But a friend and I were actually talking about going over there to shoot content because of the way that we can kind of angle it. It's like a reservoir, so there's a little bit of a water scene going on there too. Utilize the water, even reflections in the water, to make some cool pieces of content.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that comes out. If we can pull it off, if we can't pull it off, but I definitely learned that you got to get a little creative with the angles, and you can turn a regular space into something that looks kind of cool.
That's true. I mean, the angle stuff was big. I never even thought about doing anything other than right on.
Yeah, straight on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
right on, man. Party on, Garth. That's great. But that's a full circle moment, though. I mean, looping that back in and kind of where you're going with that now. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And the last time I saw you was we did like a reunion thing in October over Zoom.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I saw you, which is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of a problem, but
Yeah, you're right. It's probably more so on me than anything.
We need a squad reunion.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Vicky in a while, so yeah, it'd be great to kind of just reconnect with everybody.
Agreed.
Just kind of see how everyone's doing, where everyone's at. That's why I'm really glad to even be here right now, because it's just great to reconnect with you and kind of see what's up.
Same. You seem to be in a really like a cool, like good place, and it's been great seeing you, and that's the thing I'm loving about having guests this season is just like reconnecting, and it's been a really long time, for us, and I'm just glad that we were able to, do this today. Before we wrap up, Jonah, is there anything you want to ask? And then, of course, I'll let you do your promos and stuff.
Oh yeah, I would definitely want to ask,
Jonah there?
like, because you guys have been talking a lot about.
We're having some technical difficulties today.
A little bit.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Hello?
Go for it.
Hello.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, what advice do you have for, like improving your content for promoting your project? Because it sounds like you're pretty comfortable in the promoting, shooting social media and stuff, and I know a lot of artists struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert. I just try to, absorb what I can learn online or from, great people like Sean and Jacory. But for me, the biggest thing is understanding your hook, like what's drawing people in. Because at the end of the day, people don't care who you are. It's like it's harsh, but at the same time, I recognize that as a reality. So when I'm creating content, the first thing I'm trying to think of is how can I make sure that somebody feels as though this is important to them. Or relatable to them in some respect.
Yeah.
So that way when they are watching the video, they're like, okay, cool. Or even piquing curiosity is like one of my favorite things to do, because it's like I'll say something that kind of like relates to what I want to talk about, but it's not necessarily giving away the entire story. I think that's why story times on Instagram and TikTok work out so well, because people just want to hear like, well, how did we get here? What made you say that in the beginning? So, and because they want to know why you said that in the beginning, they stay for the entire story. That's why we have these like 3-part like Johns on on TikTok. But so for me, that's like one of the biggest things that I try to like I guess harp on or instill in other artists that I do talk to when they come to content. Make sure your hooks are like either super relatable or really like interesting in the sense that they're like kind of piquing interest or something like that. You really want to try to grab people like with whatever you say or like put on screen like immediately
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing for me.
Amen, man. I couldn't have said it better.
I love that.
That was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if you want to let everybody know what you're working on right now, is a great question, Jonah. If you want to let everybody
Yeah.
know what you're working on, what you're up to, and all your socials and all that fun
Of
stuff.
course. Yeah. So right now, like I said, I'm promoting a song. I've just released. Well, I'm I'm making content for a song called Will Won't. I want to say I just released it, but it feels like it, but it hasn't. The song's been out for I'd say a couple of months now, and it was doing really well when I was like just kind of gauging. Do
Nice.
people want to hear this song or not? Do they like it? So I'm really proud of it. It's actually a song that's kind of I don't look at songs as my babies anymore, but it's like one of those songs that like really resonate with me because of where it comes from. It is a love story about how I met a girl that became like really important to me, and I really wanted to put that out. So yeah, right now I got a song called Will Won't. Check it out. Take a listen to it wherever you consume music. Again, my name is Nellagy. I go by Nellagy on all social platforms. That's Nellagy. And yeah, keep up with me. Keep up with the pod.
Keep up with the pod. That's
Yeah.
right. The cast. I love it. All right, man. I'm so glad we had you on here. I knew you'd be a perfect guest. And,
Yeah, thank
Jonah,
you
is
again.
he everything that I hyped up?
Yes, dude. I love your personality, man. I love how energetic you are. Yeah, really well spoken as well.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, right? Definitely.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Just
yeah.
definitely one of the people I've like clicked instantly with. It doesn't happen a lot, so it's cool.
Well, I'm honored. Like that means a lot to me because, like I said, I meet a lot of people that I don't like either. So let's put it that way.
No, you fit right in, man. You fit right in on the show.
Yeah,
perfect.
but again, guys, thanks. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
And Nick, thanks for thinking about me when you were thinking about guests, especially with this being, one of the, or at least the first season when you guys are having guests. I'm honored to be a part of that group of people.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, again, everyone that we're having this season, it was like a no-brainer. You fit right in there. So thank you so much, man.
Beautiful.
Back to you for being here.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, my name is Nick Valley.
I'm Jonah Dockenai, and we're
And this is
Rev
Rock
Revolution.
Thank you, Nellagy. We will see you next week.